explain. Have full transparency happen. Release the file. Release everything in it except the victims' names. Protect the victims, protect their privacy, release everything else. There's no other reason to hold anything back than if somebody's trying to hold something where there's a cover-up. There's been enough of that. Release it and release it fast. There's a solution to every single problem that has come up. And a quick solution, it doesn't seem like people want. It seems like it's being driven by salivating over scandal as opposed to dissemination of the truth. One of the things being the birthday book. I have numerous clients who know the authenticity and the existence of the birthday book. Of course, the birthday book that was given to Jeffrey Epstein on his 50th birthday by Ghislaine Maxwell. Jeffrey Epstein's dead. He has an estate. Everybody who knows anything about the story knows the estate exists, and it's being governed by the two executives, Darren Indike, Jeffrey Epstein's former attorney, Richard Kahn, Jeffrey Epstein's former accountant. Those are the two executives. If somebody simply called them on the phone and said, give us the book, they would probably give you the book. They have attorneys. Their attorneys are good. Their attorneys are good people. If they didn't just voluntarily turn over the book out of fear of reprisal, Congress could issue a subpoena to their attorneys at Patterson or at Troutman, those are two law firms. They would turn the book over immediately. Nobody would have to guess. It wouldn't need to be a lawsuit. They wouldn't have to wait to the discovery. You would immediately have the answers. You could flip to the page. Is there a letter? Is there not a letter? It's over. The victims then get to move on. But that's not what's happening. And that's why I agreed to come on, because so many of them have called and said, somebody needs to remind us. Real people are being hurt here. The truth matters. Transparency actually matters. Get this over with and get it done.
I want to go to that book because with your familiarity with evidence against Jeffrey Epstein that you've collected a lot of through the discovery process, what do you know specifically about that book? Do you know that the estate, the relatives of Jeffrey Epstein and the their lawyers are in possession of that birthday book?
Yes, I know that the executives of the estate are in possession of that book, and I think that after they turn it over, it should probably be set in the Smithsonian as a artifact at this point in time. It's going to go down in history so the world can see this book and they'll know who were Jeffrey Epstein's best friends at the time, what letters did his family write to him, what other pictures were in there, things of that nature. Redact victim names, release the book, and move on. That's it. Yes, the executors have.
So you just identified, not just for the news media, but obviously for House representatives who are now in the mood to subpoena, and also Todd Blanche in the subject, who suddenly are getting curious about investigating it. He's not told them exactly, according to your knowledge, where the birthday book is, who is in possession of that book. And all the House representatives would have to do tomorrow is write up a subpoena for that book, and you can read that it would be the lawyers involved would comply with that subpoena.
I know the executives' lawyers. I've worked with them for years. They're good people. They're good lawyers. They would comply with the subpoena immediately. It's something that we should solve this problem so quickly. People actually want to solve it.
One more thing. You said, I think you said that some of your clients have specific knowledge of that birthday book.
Sure. More than one. No problem.
And what is that knowledge? They saw it, or they were around him when he was 50 years old? Were they present at his birthday, his 50th birthday?
I don't know the answer to that last question. I do know that they were involved in the assembly of the book that were left in. They were told by Ghislaine to assist in putting the book together. Others have seen the book post-birthday and after it was assembled. So the existence of the book is it's an absolute fact. Now, what's in the book? You're going to have to get the book to figure it out. But this isn't something that needs to be a mystery forever and drive the victims into all kinds of anxiety. So you can get that answer pretty quick.
I knew you were going to tell us information about the whereabouts of the book. I don't need before we come on tonight. But I did not think of in all the reporting that's been done about this book, and what you just said, which now seems obvious in this, is that some of Jeffrey Epstein's victims were actually used by Not to assemble that picture, but to actually put those letters together in that.
Yeah, we have to remember that Jeffrey Epstein was abusing and exploiting young women and children every day of his life. So anybody that's around for any major event, such as the assembly of his 50th birthday, they're going to be involved in assembling or playing their part, whatever they were directed to do, with respect to that book. So yeah, more than one involved.
And just to ask what you said, every day of his life, the evidence that you acquired through the discovery process and what was on your file indicates to you that Jeffrey Epstein was committing this kind of rape with girls from middle school and high school, as you just put it, every day of his life.
Well, I would just, the only caveat being that young children and young women, probably all under the age of 25, but yes, you're right, as young as 14, and I think it was also 50 that were under the age of 18. But it wasn't only knowledge, which is just a caveat. I think that the one thing that really alarms our clients, particularly today, is the information that now being visited in jail, and that she is somehow being given some credibility and platform on this particular topic. I think what people forget is that Ghislaine Maxwell wasn't only indicted on sex trafficking charges. Ghislaine Maxwell, because of testimony she gave on multiple occasions in the civil cases where we sued her, she provided testimony, and as a consequence of her testimony, she was indicted on 2 perjury charges on this particular topic. So it's apparently going to go and ask somebody to tell the truth who was indicted on perjury charges related to this particular topic. And does she have information that could potentially help? Yes. Will she be truthful about it? Who knows? But whoever is going to be the prosecutor, whoever is going to be the interrogator, must know more than a rudimentary understanding of the case. You have to clean all the deposition transcripts to know what he said, so that you can keep her in line. You have to know the testimony from her criminal trial to keep her in line, and you have to understand the case. Sending somebody there that knows nothing, she's going to say whatever she wants to say. And what's her incentive? Is her incentive because she's going to get a deal? I have many clients who say, look, I really trust in Ghislaine Maxwell with good friends back then. If you get to meet her, if you get to her, and I'm said to her, look, I know that you feel like an afterthought right now. I know that you feel like you don't matter. But who would just do that? Would be, he thought about you, and he decided he's going to do that now. I don't think that is on the table. I don't think that he would ever do that. Maybe I'm putting too much trust in him. Maybe I am. But either way, if he's not going to do that, what incentive does she have to say to tell him anything if she's getting nothing out of it? So there's a big problem here with the process, and it's just another piece of the stigma that is causing enormous anxiety. Let's all remember, there were 5 victims as part of the sex trafficking trial against Ghislaine Maxwell. 2 are no longer with us. They're dead. We're losing clients because of the anxiety and the suffering of them and their family. And they should be the first thought that every single American has when they think about this case. It shouldn't be an afterthought, and they shouldn't be forgotten. And that's how it feels. So they're mentioned.
And just to be honest, the 2 that you mentioned, both are clients of yours. One took her own life 2 months ago, and another died of cocaine drug overdose last year. Attorney Bradley Edwards, thank you very much for your invaluable perspective on this life and what you revealed to us and your knowledge about that birthday book and how it can be obtained. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Lawrence. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.